Hello everybody, I'm Mike Murdis, Gamer Logic, and welcome to the very first Gamer Logic live review show. It's pretty simple. We've got 3 different games from 3 different systems. I'm going to pick one game, or the audience is going to pick one game that I'm going to play. I'm going to play it for 10 minutes, kind of give my candid comments on the actual game itself. When we're finished, I'll take about a 5-minute period to review the game, and then I'll open it up to the audience and see what they think of the game. If we have people here, awesome. If we don't, then I guess I'll just randomly pick the next game from the next platform. So the pre-show viewers have voted for Star Fox 2 to be the first game to play. So we are going to go ahead and switch over to Star Fox 2. I'm going to grab it and put it in. You're going to see the feed change to Star Fox 2. So enjoy, and I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Alright, so here we go with Star Fox 2. Star Fox 2 obviously being the sequel to the first Star Fox on the Super NES. This never got a official release. This wasn't officially released because the creator of Mario, Miyamoto, decided that the Nintendo 64 was coming out, and he was going to have the Nintendo 64 version launching very shortly, or so he thought. So they decided to hold back on Star Fox 2, which was a shame because the Nintendo 64 was delayed, and we never got to see it. At least, till now. So we're going to go to mission mode here. Just do normal. Right away, what you're seeing here is the actual menu/strategy screen. That's very different from the first Star Fox. The menu screen in Star Fox 1 was pretty much just to show you what stage is coming up. This actually has a very live feature to it. You got to stop missiles as well as ships from invading an area. And we're going to, of course, go with Fox. Got some characters here that were never seen, I don't believe, in any future Star Foxes, at least not the 64. But Fox and Falco are gonna deal the damage here. And there, of course, is the Great Fox, which you would see in the Nintendo 64 version. Alright, so we're gonna fly and take out this satellite defense system here. Looks like we're gonna run into a missile first. So this is pretty much an open game. Not like the first in the Star Fox for 64 here. Trying to destroy targets and protect an area. Little stiffness to the controls in this one compared to the first one. And there we go. We stopped the missile attack on Chimera. stop another missile attack here. And if you don't finish them off quick enough, they go out of your reach and you have to re-engage them again. Thankfully there's only one left. There we go. Go hit that battleship. If you're familiar with the first Star Fox, again, you did go through some battleships occasionally, though it was a pretty straightforward affair. I do believe they're a little bit different in this game. And here we go. And this is where the game pulls a complete 180 on you. And as you see, I've actually transformed into a little, I guess, Mac Walker dude, you could say. Of course, you would see this in Star Fox 64 in a sense, but nothing to this degree. It's pretty much looking for the core here. Now I'm getting the hell out of here. As you progress further through the game, the battleships do get harder. Some of them got multiple ships and multiple switches that you got to hit in order to get to the core. So took that out. Let's go hit the planet here. How much time we got left for this one? Got 3 minutes. And here is the first appearance of Star Wolf. Of course, if you play the 64 version, you've seen these guys, but this is where they actually originated. And as you can see, General Pepper there just sent me a message saying the satellite system shot down and everything. This game is all happening in real time, so as you're screwing around in stages, if there's missiles coming towards the planet, that is happening in real time, so you can't take your time in the stages. You got to move and get things done, otherwise you'll lose the game really fast. Looks like Andros is sending something from Venom to try to mess with me. I will go hit it, why not? if you can kind of see, the game is slowing down a little bit. I don't know if that's just an imperfection of the game itself with the Super Nintendo, or if that just occurred when the game got translated from the homebrew developers the rest of the way. Obviously, the goal is to hit that battle cruiser over by Venom there. Very cool. And we got about 30 seconds left on this, so we are going to go ahead and switch back to the live feed for me, and I'm going to review Star Fox 2 in its entirety. Alrighty guys, so obviously what you just saw there was Star Fox 2, and again, this was never officially released. This was canceled due to the impending arrival of the Nintendo 64 that was delayed. So, overall, what do I think of the game? Let's start with the graphics. There isn't much improvement from the original Star Fox from it. If you've looked at other Super FX games and Super FX2 games, there really wasn't much improvement with them. They established the beginning things of what they really needed to do, and they could only really go so far, kind of like the Sega 32X. It looked good on paper, and the initial batch of games looked decent, but then there wasn't much more they could do with it. Sound-wise, the soundtrack, of course, is decent. It's not as good as the first Star Fox. It's obviously not as good as the Nintendo 64 version of Star Fox and some of the later games on there, but it still holds up. The sound effects are still good. Control-wise, as you heard me complain about a little bit while I was playing the game, there's just something a little stiffer about this control scheme in Star Fox 2 compared to the first one. The first one was pretty free-flowing. It was really easy to hit your targets, and this stuff just seems a little off. And again, I don't know if that is to blame because of the openness that is used in this game, or if it's something that just didn't get translated well when this game was finished off by homebrew developers. What else can we talk about with this game here? I guess we can pretty much get into the overall effect of what I've actually thought about the game. If I had to give it a star rating, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Probably a higher ranking than I'd normally give it, just because it's great to actually have a working copy of the game, and to actually have it, seeing as it never officially came out. Do I think it's a shame that Nintendo decided not to release it? I definitely do. I think the Star Fox franchise overall would have been more popular up till now if they would have put it out, and obviously people would have jumped to the 64 version of Star Fox. I guess you could say that this Star Fox is definitely the Zelda 2 of Star Foxes, because it had the openness to it. It wasn't like the first one. They were doing something different with it. And I don't know how hardcore fans would have took to that. So overall, I give it a 4 out of 5. So let's take a look at the chat here. Does anyone have any questions for me as far as the game goes, as far as how I got it, what else I think of it? Take a look into the chat. Stinger says Star Fox 2 seems good. How did you get it? I actually got it from a guy at the Racket Boy forums. If you guys haven't checked out Racket Boy, I definitely recommend checking it out if you're a fan of retro gaming. Great content there. But tons of people where you can buy various items. There was a guy on there, his name escapes me right now, unfortunately, but he actually does full-on EEPROM burns to the actual game cartridges themselves. So he's able to actually burn the actual game image into the chip, pop it into a cartridge. Usually send him a donor cartridge, or he has cartridges ready for sale, and he sells it. I think I got this for, I want to say about 65 bucks. It was a pretty good deal. But if you look online, you'll see that tons of people are now putting Star Fox 2 up on eBay, and they were charging like a ridiculous amount of money for it. That kind of leads into another thing. If you look on eBay and you look for the Super Star Fox Weekend competition cart, you got to be really careful, because now that people are able to actually make these games, they're making duplicates of that Super Star Fox cart, and that's really bad, because nothing would anger you more than paying like $500 for a cart, which is insane, by the way, and then finding out it's a fake. But that's something that you got to be really, really careful of. But for being a cart that I've played that's homebrew, that was homemade, that was actually burned by someone, I've had no problems with this. No crashes, nothing. So guys, based on what you've seen of Star Fox 2, say Nintendo, and this is if you own a Wii, or maybe if you don't own a Wii, if Nintendo suddenly announced, hey, we're going to bring Star Fox 2 to the Virtual Console, would you buy it? Me personally, if they made some additional edits and content fixes, I definitely would. Let's see what the chat says. Stinger says, Star Fox is one of my favorite SNES games. Me too, man. That is for sure. Stinger would buy it if it came to Virtual Console, which is awesome. Stigmatic says that he would buy it if they put it on 3DS, which is fair to say. I mean, they've already said that there's going to be a host of downloadable content you'll be able to get to it. Obviously, when they first started talking about the 3DS, there was rumors about Punch-Out. I think they also showed Star Fox 64, if I recall correctly. I think that would probably be one of the things that would actually get me to buy a 3DS if they put Star Fox 2 on there. So 3DS is something I'm definitely looking forward to picking up. It's more and more becoming a console that I'm interested in, especially with the variety of games on there like Metal Gear, Resident Evil, as well as a couple other things. Cowboy asks, can you explain donor carts? Will any cart do? It actually depends on the game. Certain games have certain additional chips built into them that the cartridge needs. For example, if I sent the guy, or I was making my own, if I tried to use the guts and the board of Gun Force here. Gun Force is not a Super FX game, and Star Fox 2 is a Super FX game. So if I tried to burn the image on there, the game would basically crash or not even run because the Super FX chip isn't there. There are other games that require that. Mega Man X2 and 3, I believe, had its own Capcom chip in it that actually made additional graphics and stuff like the wind in the desert stage possible in the sandstorm. Mario Kart had a DSP-1 chip. Those are pretty standard to get because a lot of the later Nintendo games have them. But if it's a general game, for the most part, yeah, you can if it's just a run-in-the-mill. But most of the games that you want are either RPGs or other stuff, and they have to have either the battery component to it so you can actually save stuff to it, or the special chip that they use for it. Hopefully that answers your question. No problem. Let's see what we got here. You know, I think we're going to go into our next platform here and review another game since we got one more person in chat. It'll be nice because we'll have a couple of people vote. So actually we'll do 2 votes here. Should I do the Dreamcast next or should I do the PlayStation next? Let's see what we got in the chat here. Cowboy says Dreamcast. Dreamcast. Okay, well that's that's 2 out of the 3 people, so I guess we're gonna go for it. Okay, for Dreamcast, we've got 3 different choices here. 2 of these I have never played before, and one of them I have, and I'm sure you guys probably have too, but I figured it was a safe one just in case. We got MDK2, The House of the Dead 2. That was the one I was telling you about that I played. And unfortunately, I have no cover art for this, but this is Psychic Force 2012. So again, that's House of the Dead 2, MDK 2, or Psychic Force. Which one should I play, guys, and which one should I review? MDK 2. We got 1 vote for MDK 2. MDK 2. All right, cool. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and pop this in. We're going to change over the feed, and I will see you guys in a bit. And watch the mic levels go up as you hear the Dreamcast turn and churn its gears to get it to work. There you go, that's interesting. I forgot that BioWare, the makers of Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic, and a variety of other good games put together MDK2. That's interesting. I don't remember if they put the first one together or not. First one was a pretty decent PC game, though I do admit that I think I only played the demo. I never played the full game. It looks like we're loading here, so we're going to wait for this to load. And we're going to start our 10-minute clock here for me to play this. Just gonna go with new game here. I turn this up a little bit for you guys. It's a little quiet. Stinger says, MDK2 came with an old video card I got for PC. Dreamcast port is very similar. I'm curious to see what you think about the game yourself, Stinger. I'll ask you that once we get back to the final review part here.
Kurt Hectic never wanted to be a hero. He was content with his life and wanted to live out his years in quiet, dignified anonymity. Sadly, it was not to be. Kurt was employed as a janitor for Dr. Fluke Hawkins, eccentric man of science. The messes were large, but the pet...
Okay, cool comma guard there, but I'm
Come
going
toast, Kurt.
skip it for the heck of it, just to get into the game.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Don't sell yourself short. Those aliens never knew what hit them. A major setback for them, I'm certain.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over.
Yes, it's all over.
Decent graphics for
I just knew
being a
it.
Dreamcast game.
Mine crawler in sector 8675309.
530. Good gravy! That's Edmonton! Well, Kurt, I hope you're up to saving the world one more time, yeah?
You sure are quick to send me down.
I think they ripped off Kurt on MDK2 here, because Max Payne has the exact same textures for his face.
Jinkies, I'm so proud!
Let's see if I get to jump out of the ship like I did in the first one. That was always fun. Looking like it. Oh, I better get to control this or I'm going to be angry. Yay! Okay. Okay, I definitely got to say that this is a pretty good looking game for its age. I mean, this game is... I don't recall what the release date is offhand, but it's at least got to be 8 to 9 years old, I would say. Maybe a little later than that. There we go. Load times are decent. Game's a little dark.
Before you begin your assault, Kurt, I've got to refresh your memory on how to use the coil suit. Use X, Y, B, and A to move around. Try pressing two buttons at the same time for diagonal movement.
Okay, right away, I do not like the control scheme of this. Using the regular buttons for this is not fun. I know we're missing a
stand by the arrow in the center of the
second analog stick here, but it's a little weird. This controls the thumbstick, the first thumbstick, the only thumbstick controls the camera. Let's take a little quick look at options here, shall we? Can we change this at all? Reverse, reverse triggers, analog dead zone, no. Boo, okay. Alright. So now you can all watch as I walk around like a retard trying to figure out the controls of this.
This is where we begin with the shooting. Use the right trigger to fire your chain gun and aim with the analog stick. Destroy those targets in front of the aces. I've placed a grenade somewhere close by. Walk over to it and add it to your inventory. Right. Now to throw it. Press up on the D-pad.
Well, at least it goes through the instructions fairly easily there. Awesome.
Smashing! Now let's learn to jump and use your parachute.
That was a really fun feature of the
Look for the
first
lowest
one.
floating platform in this room. Run toward it and jump on it by pressing the left trigger. Now, jump to the platform closest to
These
you.
controls are horrible. Alright. I swear that in the 10-minute period, I will get past the first room. There we go.
Try a better jump to the next platform. Press and hold both the left trigger and the Y button to glide to your target.
Okay. Do this.
Try jumping onto that nearest platform, Kurt. You'll notice you can't land feet first on that one, but you can jump high enough to grab onto the ledge and pull yourself up. Right, enough jumping around, lad. I've turned on a fan in the middle of the room. Stand on it and open your parachute. By holding your parachute open in the updraft, you'll be able to reach the large platform above you.
Ah! Unless you do that.
Now let's teach you how to use your sniper scope. First, get the sniper grenade by bumping into it. Now, stand by the arrow at the edge facing the exit. Press down on the D-pad to enter sniper mode. Use the analog stick to look around. Press Y and A to zoom in and out. X and B straight, and right trigger fires. Shoot the two small targets near the door.
Simple enough.
Now,
As I missed 3 times.
to the left or right to change ammo to the sniper grenade. Now shoot the big target.
Just zoom out here. There we go.
Good work, Kurt. You can leave the room by sniping the lock on the door. Show those aliens what you're made of.
Alright, let's get into some game here. Figure out the damn controls again. like we only got like 2 minutes left, so we gotta make this count. I don't know what that guy just said, but it wasn't nice, I'm sure. Well, we only have 17 seconds left, and I'm kind of stuck on this part, though I really didn't give it a fair shake. But we're going to go ahead and go back to the live feed footage, and I will give my thoughts on this game. Alright then. So that, as you just saw, or if you're just joining us, that was MDK2 for the Dreamcast. Outsnipe, outshoot, outthink. This was my first time ever playing this game. And just a quick note, in a sense, it's kind of not fair that I'm reviewing games I first time play and only play for a period of 10 minutes. So don't take this to the book. This is just my first impressions of the game in a sense. So first impressions review, I guess you could say. I mean, I could end up playing this 2 months down the line and think it's a really, really good game, but I'll just discuss my thoughts on it now. Let's obviously start with the premise of the game, and that is that it's actually pretty fun in concept. The first one was a blast. Again, even though I played the demo, I really liked what I played on the PC demo of MDK. And the formula to that seems true. And from what I understand, you can actually play, other than Kurt, you can actually play, let's see if you can see this, you can actually play as the dog and the doctor as well in the actual game here. So that should be pretty cool as well. Storyline, it looks like Kurt's just blowing up some more aliens there, which was fine. Let's get into the control category. And as you guys heard me complaining about the controls multiple times, for those of you that could only really hear me, you move with these. And in order to move to the left and move to the right and move diagonal, move forward, you got to hold two buttons here, which obviously I know they had to kind of put that in because of the analog stick, but to me, or the missing analog stick rather, but it would have made more sense if they just did the controls here and the camera here. It would have made a lot more sense to me if they had done that. Your shooting is done by your trigger buttons. Your jump is actually one of the trigger buttons here, and you also hit Y in order to do your parachute. Of course, he kind of explained some of those instructions in the actual beginning there, so I won't go too detailed into it. This, playing the controls on the Dreamcast version of this, would anger me very, very, very quickly. It would become very frustrating. So control-wise, I've got to give it some pretty low marks for it on there. Just it's a shame that there's some great games that play well on the Dreamcast with the controller, and there are others that are just god-awful. Graphics look good for a game that, let's see, let's check the date on here. This was 2000, so this game is officially close to 11 years old, and it looked pretty good for its time. Now, MDK2 is also on the PC, so if you're looking to play it on the PC, you're a PC player, you definitely can. You may have to go eBay, you may have to look some other routes, which I won't discuss, but you got a couple routes there. You got Dreamcast. I want to say that they may have put it on PS2 as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But the graphics are really, really good, and actually, if you look on the packaging, it even says, graphics are absolutely stunning. Videogames.com. I don't even know if that site's still around anymore, but we'll have to check. It does have, it works for the VMU, works for the VGA cord, which is great if you have your Dreamcast connected to an HD TV. And it works for the jump pack too, so if it got rumble, it works great. Sound is good, and overall, the premise of the game is nice, but the controls really, 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 really put a bother on me. I'd play this again on the PC, but probably not on the Dreamcast. I'd give it, I'll give it a 3, just to be kind of fair to it, because it does show some promise to it, some puzzles and some other stuff. The gameplay looks fun, so I'll give it a 3 instead of my original thought of doing a 2.5 to it. I may look to see if I can get this on the PC. Let's take a look at chat and see if anyone's got any questions for me. Cetrum69 asks, is MDK2 Dreamcast only? And no, it's not. It's for the PC, at least I know the PC for sure. Maybe even PS2, but I know they have it on the PC. Cowboy says, these controls are tough, huh? I hate them, dude. You know, you saw me miss very, very simple jumps there, and I've been playing platformers for years. Ratchet and Clank, like you mentioned, is a great platforming game, and it uses it very well. Stigmatic just said that MDK2 is on Steam, which Steam is an excellent platform for grabbing games. It doesn't surprise me that it's on there. Probably not a bad price, too, I imagine, right, Stig? A cheap price on that one, or is it kind of expensive? Anyone else got any questions for me as far as MDK2 goes? Around $5 or $6 on Steam? Not a bad deal at all. Not a bad deal at all. I'd pay for that. What did I pay for my Dreamcast copy here? I think I paid $2.99, which isn't too bad. But the control sucks. So. And while we're not talking about MDK too much right now, I guess we can kind of quickly talk about these other 2 games I got here. What are your guys' thoughts on House of the Dead 2? Personally, I thought it was a lot of fun. I have a funny story about the game itself. Me and my buddy Joe used to play it in the arcade. And I think I was trying to reload or something, but I nailed him in the face with the gun, and after that, he never played a gun game with me again. I still feel bad about that. Any thoughts on House of the Dead 2 from our esteemed chat audience? I really got to get a crickets sound effect here. While people are thinking about that, has anyone tried Psychic Force 2012? I have not played this one, so I'm not too sure about this one at all. I may have to throw that in tonight if I have some time. Though I may be messing with my Commodore in the meantime. Schematic says, when I played it with my brother, it got him into gaming. Which I assume he's talking about House of the Dead 2. Now, did you play that on the console, or did you play it on the actual arcade unit the first time you played it, or when you were playing it with your brother? And Barboy says, crickets, just oil the chair. I know I should have oiled it. I got the WD-40 downstairs in the basement somewhere. I will do that next show, if there is a next show, I promise. Arcade. Schematic says, arcade. That was a really fun arcade game, though the premise of it was just really, really cool. So back to MDK2 really quick. If you found it for a deal, would you pick up the Dreamcast version of MDK2 despite its controls, or would you skip it and get it on a different platform? I feel like this is one of those chairs like those very, very old people get off. Like, oh, play some retro games, Sonny. Oh, get off my chair. Let me tell you about the games I had when I was young. I had Donkey Kong. In Donkey Kong, you only had 3 screens. Okay, I'll stop that. Okay. Stamatic says, I would get it to complete my collection. Yeah, that's not a bad deal. Like I said, I got mine for $2.99, so that wasn't too bad. So That's pretty much it for the MDK and the Dreamcast. So we're going to get into our final platform here. And this is obviously a PlayStation. And the choices are for PlayStation: Bushido Blade 2, Policenauts, or Enhinder. All three are very, very good games. So again, the choices are Policenauts, Bushido Blade 2, and Enhinder. What are we going for? What does the chat think? Policenauts. Want to vote for Policenauts? Oh, we got another Policenauts. I think we got 4 people in the chat. Policenauts it is. Okay. Alright guys, give me a second to load this up really quick and we will get over to Policenauts. I will see you guys on the feed and be back in 10 minutes. Maybe some loading issues with Policenauts here, guys. Stand by. Oops, wrong game. There we go. I was going to try to do the English version for you guys, but it looks like we're going to do the Japanese, so this will be fun because I pretty much know most of the script of the Japanese version of the game, so I'll be doing lots of translating for you. Lock that chair in, shall we? Now, Policenauts is from the acclaimed video game maker Hideo Kojima, who of course is famous for his Metal Gear games, but Policenauts in some sorts could be considered a spiritual sequel to Snatcher, which was another great Kojima game that kind of had the interactive adventure elements to it. That little theme you're hearing in the background, that actually happens to be my ringtone, and my wife absolutely hates it because I use it for my alarm. So, you know, anytime she hears me play this game, she just kind of cringes a bit. Let's get a new game here. One thing when you're playing any Japanese PlayStation 1 games, the X and O, or circle, are opposite to a lot of the American games. Like American gamers, to confirm you hit X. In a lot of Japanese games, you hit circle, so it's always a bit of a mess up to me because I'll be playing a certain game and then I'll switch over to a different game and I'll be hitting circle to confirm and I'll be canceling, especially a pain when you're trying to save. And for those asking, I am playing on the PS1 here. The basic gist of the story is is that we, as human beings, have finally been able to colonize space and set up space stations and other assorted objects on different planets and stuff like that. And there was a group of police officers formed, the first group of actual police officers formed for outer space, called the Policenauts.
2010年人類初のスペースコロニービヨンドコーストが完成。
And as you can see, the name of the space station is Beyond Coast, and it's a completely different civilization from the human civilization. Of course, while there are mostly humans on there, there are also generated DNA beings on there as well that kind of serve as the elitist kind of group for it. Who you're seeing right here is actually Jonathan Ingram. He is one of the first Policenauts. He's working on an experiment here. There's his fellow Policenauts compatriots. All of them from various parts of the United States, Japan, America, Australia. As you can see, Jonathan's boosters are failing here, so he's losing gravity, and suddenly he loses control. The bolt falls out, and he's blown into outer space. His cable snaps, and that's it. He's blown away from his friends, going out of control, and just sprawling out into space. Now, the main focus of the storyline of this is you play the character who was lost in space. He was found, but as you can see, he was found 25 years later. The entire life that he knew as a Policenaut after waking up, completely gone. Imagine how much could change in 25 years. Not to mention the fact that he had a wife, all of that gone. He hasn't aged at all because he was in a state of sleep, like in cryo sleep. Or cryo sleep, I should say. So his wife has aged, everything around him has changed, and things just aren't the same anymore. And there he is being removed from his pod. Home, as you can see, is obviously Earth. Jonathan has essentially become a private detective. He deals with kidnappings, child abductions, small crimes. He sits in old LA, kind of in a derelict little office in 2040 here. If you look, there's so many different Konami references in this game. As you can see, there's a sign there that says Solid Snake. Really cool animation for this. It's such a shame that this game never came out to America. I can see for certain reasons why it didn't. I mean, Snatcher didn't sell very, very well, but especially in the mid-90s, here, anime was such a big thing that I think anime fans really would have ate this up. It's not your typical action game, and I think that's half the problem with it. Not too many people would have been accepted with it, but I still wish they would have put it out. The good news is that there was an actual group that worked and did a fan translation completely of this game, and you can download the ISOs for it if you have a modded PSP or a modded PlayStation. You can actually play the game in English, which is amazing. They did an awesome job translating it. I finished it last year with the English translation and then played through the Japanese version just to kind of see through the differences. And just a great storyline, and it's a game that has to be translated. You can follow through a walkthrough, but it just won't get the same premise. I've kind of done a little bit more extended on this than just 10 minutes just because we've had a little extra time in between chats. And now you get to see the basis of the game, which if you played Myst, it's a little bit more interactive than Myst. God, I cannot talk today at all. So here we have Jonathan Ingram, and we're pretty much talking about everything I just covered. How it's been 25 years, how he's now a police officer here, and just kind of looking for jobs and doing what he needs to do. Now it's been 2 years since he was removed from that pod and back and working around again, and because he was in cryo for so long, he had to learn how to walk again and everything. 幼児誘拐や人身売買のネゴシエート、身代金の仲介、脱獄犯の逮捕など、やばい依頼ばかりだ。Again, here he's just talking about child abductions, how there have been more of a upbringing of them lately. They've been a lot more around the area than usual, and it's kind of strange, and that plays an important part in the game later. So here we go with the interactive parts of the game here. Static image for the most part, with a couple animations, and you kind of click around and do things that you need to do and interrogate people and stuff like that. Jonathan's actually waiting for a client to call right here, and he hasn't heard anything from him. And he sees that there is a couple messages flashing on his answering machine here. So this is the basic premise. Move it around and you can actually click on objects here. That's his favorite pack of cigarettes there, and this is a brand where the filter is quite different than your standard cigarette. It only puts off about 25% of the nicotine smoke in it, but these are pretty much very, very rare to get, and actually up in the space stations you can't smoke at all. And we can take a little bit of a look into Jonathan's life here. This is before he actually launched in space. This is right after training here for him. This is a picture with his wife Lorraine. And again, you know, what do you do if you're married to someone and he disappears and he's gone for 25 years? Do you wait for him? Do you move on with your life? And that's exactly what Lorraine did. She moved on with her life. She remarried. She waited for as long as she could and just couldn't do it. 俺のワイフ。いや、それも過去のことだ。俺があの事故を起こした後、ビヨンドで再婚したらしい。今では他人のワイフだ。日本人とアメリカ人との2世。We're gonna play here for about 3 minutes, a little bit more, like 3 minutes here, and then we'll go back to the live feed here. You can also do some looking around. Let's listen to a couple messages here. Some of them have audio, some of them don't. Basically what happens is Jonathan's client actually decides to not show up. He talks about the landing at some of the planets here. He talks about the forming of Beyond Coast and how Jonathan became a Policenaut. And how they found Jonathan in the actual pod itself. 25 years of wandering, it says. Miracle recovery. There's a picture of Jonathan there. So at this point, I'm going to stop here. Just quickly talk about what happens in the next moments here. Lorraine, Jonathan's wife, unexpectedly comes in for a visit here, fearing for her life. She actually came down from the space station to visit Jonathan, and her husband has gotten into some odd trouble. He's disappeared, and she's asking for help. and Jonathan kind of refuses to help her, and she is murdered right in front of his office. And this is where the actual gun aspects of the game come in, where you fire at enemies and stuff. You aim your cursor around and you basically shoot at them. It's more of like an interactive Lethal Enforcers than anything. But it adds some spice to the game and some challenge later. Alright, let's get back to the live feed. Alrighty, folks, so a quick overview of Policenauts really quick here. It's an interesting game. It is a point-and-click game, essentially. The best way to describe it is it's an interactive movie, an interactive novel. If you're not into those types of games, you're not going to like this. It doesn't have blazing action all over the place. What it has is a tangible storyline, which is rare for some Kojima games, especially in the later Metal Gear games. It's a good story. It's easy to follow. It has depth to it. It has some really, really great characters to it. And it's interesting. It's an interesting look at kind of an alternate way of Earth and how space has evolved man, per se. Graphics are all hand-drawn. I really like hand-drawn graphics. It's got that early 1990s anime look to it. Sound-wise, great soundtrack. Almost a really like 80s cheesy buddy cop movie theme to it, but I really, really, really like the music to it. And control, I mean, it's a point-and-click game, other than the actual parts where you're doing the shooting, where it's a little bit more fast-paced. There's not much to it. To kind of emphasize the point that, yes, this is a point-and-click game, you can use the PlayStation mouse for this. So, again, I finished this game last year. If I had to give it a review, I would give it a 5 out of 5. This game was excellent. You know, if you look around, you can find the English version of this. Again, a group did do a translation of this, and you can find it. It's worth playing it for at least half an hour just to experience it and just to kind of take in the characters and see if you can go from there. So 5 out of 5 for this. This is hopefully a game that's going to generate a lot of questions with people, so let's see what we think at the chat. First up here we got Cowboy, who says, very cool story premise so far, which I very much agree with you. The story is very cool. And Cowboy asks, is this whole interface point and click? Yes, again, it's all a point and click deal. I know you posted that a little bit before I got back to the live feed, but to answer it again, yeah. Stigmatic says, reminds me of Ghost in the Shell. That's actually not too far off. The pilots of the robots themselves that they use to police things are very close to, God, the name escapes me now, of the little mechs in Ghost in the Shell. Tachikomas, I think they're called? Tachikomas, something like that. The tanks. I'm sure you're familiar with the term. But it is very similar environment to Ghost in the Shell. Just you remove kind of the matrix and the major aspect to it, where there's kind of the whole internet thing to it. It's more of a evolution and murder mystery thing to it. Any other questions about this game? And just a quick note, I think it took the team that translated this game to English about 5 or 6 years with them working on it. And these were all just regular people. They had no association with Konami. They just took their time and put it together. I guess I can kind of take this time to say thank you to the people who translated this and put this together. So I'm going to ask how much I paid for the game. And that is a two-part answer. Assume the English translation version of ISO you need to burn and play it on a modded box. That is correct. You do need a modded PS1 to play it, or if you have a modded PSP, you can do the same thing. However, if I recall correctly, you can actually play PS1 ISOs on a modded Xbox and stuff as well. But if you got a PC, it's really, really, really easy to do the PS1 emulation. And it actually works really good on PS1 emulation. You can move your mouse to it, it's fast, and you can kind of blaze through it quickly, and it's easy to do. Okay, Stigmatic asks, how much is it? Okay, we're going to see 2 copies of the game here, okay? I've got to get used to actually getting where the camera here is here. This is the actual Japanese copy of the game. Comes in a nice 2-disc slot here. For this, in mint condition, I paid $22 with shipping from Japan. And as far as this edition goes, this is a homemade edition that I made. I put together the labels and everything, burned the disc, got the labels for it, did the ISOs. I, of course, have a modded PS1 as well as a couple other different modded devices I use for gaming as well as PC. But this I put together. I downloaded the ISO first. I know people freak out about, oh my god, you pirate games and stuff like that. I never would have tried this had I not downloaded it. I downloaded it, I liked it so much, I went and bought the Japanese collection so I could say I have it in my collection. So $22. I will say that there is a group, and if you look online, I forget the name of the group, but it said about 6 months ago that they're actually going to be doing a translation of it themselves and maybe bringing it over to America and releasing it on the PS Network. The company's done several other import games that they've done some translations or just left it as and they brought it over to America. So hopefully that happens. Cowboy asks, how many hours? Oh, 2 discs must be long. We're looking over the Christmas break or Thanksgiving break when I play this. Depending on how fast you can get through the puzzles and through some of the other various elements to it, you're looking at probably anywhere from 5 to 10 hours of playtime, maybe more near the end there, because you have to listen to all the dialogue, you have to click on everything, you have to check out everything, otherwise you'll miss key parts of the storyline. Replayability-wise, it doesn't have that much replayability-wise unless you want to go through it again and experience the story. It definitely is kind of a one-time play thing, but again, I really enjoyed it. Any other questions about Policenauts before we close up here? And it's looking like we've gone quiet. So, I guess Cowboy says, thanks for doing the live show. Stigmatic asks, is there a sequel? Unfortunately, there is not a sequel. I don't think this sold very well in Japan either, unfortunately. Kojima kind of has a small cult following with these games for both Snatcher and Policenauts over there. So really, Policenauts is more of a spiritual sequel to Snatcher, and it's never really had anything after that, unfortunately. I don't know if Kojima would ever bother to do a game like this, especially considering what he's involved with now. So if you're looking to try a game that is like this, check out Snatcher for the Sega CD, and that's another game that you can easily emulate. And that's an expensive one. Snatcher goes anywhere from $100 to $300 depending where you get it. I got it at an expo for $50. I was lucky enough to find it there. And Cowboy, thank you again for thanking me for doing the live show. I guess we can kind of get into feedback. What did you guys think of the show? Be honest. Was this a waste of your time? Did you enjoy it? What would you like to see? Oh, what do we got from chat here? One thing for sure, I wouldn't mind having maybe an assistant in the future to kind of like type questions as I'm going here so people could kind of catch up with it. That'd be a little interesting. Systematic says it was pretty awesome. I thank you very much for that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I try to keep things interesting as much as I can, and after I broadcast this, obviously it's recorded so people can check it out, and more people can check it. We only got a maximum of 5 people, but hey, you know, it had a weird announcement. It was very short notice. It's a Sunday, there's football games going on, or maybe people just aren't super interested in it, but for you first 5 that stayed with me on the show, I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. You guys have been great, and thanks for answering me on the chat. It's really cool to have interaction with you guys other than YouTube. I mean, YouTube is fun, and I like talking to you guys in the comments, but this is a lot of fun, and I am seriously considering about doing another one maybe in another month or so, and hopefully we'll get some more people to check it out, and I can kind of review the format. Not a waste. Time is premium, so I can't always send my wife. Actually, sort of figure they were in the middle of MDK2, so I missed some. Woo! the cowboy, I hope your wife is doing better. That's not fun. So thanks for staying with the show instead of checking around with your wife there. Hopefully your wife doesn't want to kill me and kill you. So hope your wife heals up nicely. And again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'm pretty much going to leave it at that. One other thing I got to fix is a stupid menu thing on this, but that's pretty much it, guys. Now you can see I'm using a Sony Handycam for this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to keep it at that, and that'll be the end of it. Again, thank you guys for checking. For those of you who are watching this from the rebroadcast, from the archive of this, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you guys have suggestions to me, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube, which is, of course, the easy way to get to it, www.gamerlogic.net. I'm Mike Murtis. Again, thank you for my chat viewers for checking this out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.